What's up, YouTube? It's your girl Faye. How are you guys? Hopefully you're all doing well. I'm doing great. I'm coming in today to talk to you about Braxton family values. Okay, so I watched the show last night, and I'm just coming to give you my really honest opinion on what I thought about certain things. I haven't talked to anybody about it other than Mojo, and I mean we watched the show together, so we kind of like discussed little things here and there. I went home after I watched the show, didn't talk to anybody else about it, didn't read a blog, didn't watch TV, just want to give you my honest opinion, and I wrote notes because I don't want to forget anything. So alright, let's get into it. So the show opens up, and of course they kind of feature everybody to kind of say who they are. Toni, of course, is a 6-time Grammy winning artist. You know, everyone knows Toni Braxton. She has, great songs. She's always been one of my favorite, singers. So Toni Braxton, of course, is there. We have Tawana, which is Toni Braxton's assistant. She used to be a background singer, but now she's her assistant. You have Tamar, which is one of Toni's current background singers, the baby, aka the diva of the family. She's there. You have Trina, Trina is also a background singer. I've seen Trina before on some plays. She was in a Tyler Perry play that I was watching, Meet the Browns, and she's done other plays before, and she does other things, but she's also a background singer. And then there's Traci, who they called her the wannabe. Yeah, I have a problem with that title, but I'll tell you why in a minute. So anyway, the show opens up with them getting ready to go to Bermuda. Toni is doing a performance for charity for autism because she found out recently that her son is autistic, and so I guess through dealing with that, she was doing a charity event to raise money for autism awareness. Okay, so they're all getting ready. Toni's nervous because she hasn't done a show in a while. She's been sick, blah blah blah. So they're all getting ready. So Tawana, who is Toni's assistant, is like, all right, let me get everything together. She has Trina and Tamar go get ready to perform. So they're there practicing their moves. Now, for some reason, she keeps saying, I'm not going to tell Tamar that Toni's not coming. I'm not going to tell him Toni's not coming. After, a couple minutes or maybe a half hour, she tells them that Toni's not coming. Tamar gets the diva hat on, and she's like, I am not staying. Why I gotta practice if she ain't practicing? It's her show. I don't need to practice to be a background singer. Like, she's just very negative. Okay, that is my honest opinion about her. I think that she is right now. Last night it was just a little much. Like, towards the end of the show, I was like, for real, Tamar, for real, she needs to get a grip, in my opinion. I thought that she was very extra last night. And if she said one more, she keeps saying, getoverit.com, getoverit.org, I am so serious.com. I don't know where that came from. I've never heard it before, but yeah, that was annoying too. So she went from being a .com to .org, depending on the situation, it was more serious, that's what she did. But anyway, so, she doesn't want to be a background singer, but yet she is a background singer. And not only does she not want to be a background singer, she talks about it as if it's so easy and anyone can do it. Well, move over and let somebody else do it. I think the fact that Toni is still letting them be their background singer is very, very good. And honestly, people need jobs nowadays, so obviously she needs a job. Back up. She had a record that came out in 2001. I actually liked the song that came out. I don't know, it didn't really go well. She talked about it. She said she went to the top 200. She made it to 176 on the billboards that year. That's a good accomplishment. A lot of people would be proud of that. You know what I mean? She should be proud of it. But I think that her mind went to the number 1 spot, and her everything else is still at 176 because she just was so extra to me. Honestly, she was. So yeah. So she leaves the practice because she's like, I ain't gonna do this. I don't need to practice. It's only the whole time. So she gets home, and Toni has all this stuff all over her face, and she's like, why weren't you at the practice? She's asking Toni, the headliner, why weren't you at the practice? So Toni is like, well, I had other things to do. I'm already practiced. You know, and Toni seems to be real mild-mannered, and she's really, really calm in this show. Mind you, so far, she's been very, very calm. You know what I mean? So she's like, well, you know, so she's like, I don't need to, all Tamar learned in the whole dance routine was 2 steps. 2 steps. You worried about Toni, and you only learned 2 steps. Really? Really? I thought that was so funny because I was like, what about the rest of the show? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so that was a mess. Trina, she's just like, can we just have some wine? Like, she don't want to argue. She don't want to do anything. She just wants some wine. She's not very happy in her marriage right now. She's, you know, drinking. Later on in the show, they showed clips. Next week, she's going to be talking about getting a DUI. So clearly, you know, Trina just want to have a drink and just be mellowed out. You know what I mean? So, she only took Tamar, like I said, again, is on a whole nother level. Traci. I opened up feeling really bad for Traci. When the first thing that it said was Traci, the wannabe. I had a problem with that because as she started talking, she discussed how, you know, she was in the group with them and then she got pregnant. She went on to, you know, live in Maryland and have a life and raise her kids, her children or whatever. And so when they took off to be the Braxton 3, when they came out with the Braxton's group, she wasn't a part of that. And so she right now, you know, she's older. She really misses seeing them, you know, being on the stage. She hasn't sang in over 10 years. She is like at a humble phase right now where she really wants to, you know, be included and be part of it. Now that I've said that. And I understand that. That was very humble of her to be able to say that out loud. Okay? Now that I have said all of that, she needs to practice decorum and know when to do these things. Okay, her sisters are getting ready for performance, and she's at the damn practice in the shows being a diva, like, oh, anything else? Do I have to hold your bag too? Oh, anything else you need? And then she starts complaining. I think that the message would have been received a little bit better if she did it at a different time. Don't wait till y'all go away, y'all having fun. It was her first time on a private jet. She was enjoying the moment, and then she just kind of went off into this, like, you know, woe is me phase. And when people are focused, they don't want to hear the woe is me. They're not going to feel sorry for you. So if you wanted them to really pay attention to what you were saying, you should have waited until the time was right. The time isn't when they're about to get on stage. So Tamar, of course, is like, who wants to be a background singer? Because of course Traci is like dying. She's like, I would die to be a background singer. Tamar is complaining about it. I would love to be a background singer. Tamar is like, who wants to do that? I'm not the spokesperson for background singers anonymous. Why is she coming to me with all this foolishness? I'm not to blame for your life and blah blah blah. And I was just like, that is so insensitive. Like, Tamar is just on another level. But she gonna get hers in a second, and I'm gonna tell you what happened with her. So, yeah, that's about it. You know, they also talked about Evelyn, which is their mother. She stayed back with the kids. Them kids was driving her crazy, baby. I don't know if they set that up for the camera, but them kids was all over the place. And she thought, oh, I raised 6 kids. 5 kids ain't gonna be bad. She don't know that she dealing with 5 kids that is on today's standards. It's more like 20 kids. So she was going nuts, okay? So, Trina describes Tamar's mouth as a city dump. She says that you don't know what's gonna come out of it. And it's true. So Tamar, like I said, is on a whole nother level. They showed a lot about her, but I felt like they showed her kind of like in a negative light, because I felt like she portrayed herself that way. You know what I mean? So fast forward to they did the performance. Everything is all good and gravy. Now they're at the point where they're in the room, and Trina and Tamar are talking about the you know, how Traci is acting or whatever. Tamar is like, well, I want a contract and I want this, because, you know, she feels like her husband is Toni's manager, and she's getting the short end of the stick. Then the husband comes in and is like, what y'all talking about? So she's like, oh, you know, I want a record deal or whatever. He said, you know, you worried about complaining. You worrying about everybody else. You need to worry about yourself. You know what I mean? So she was like, no, it's just that, why can't you put me on Gaga record? Why can't you put me on this record? He was like, no, this is their time. You want to be an artist. You need to grow and mold yourself into being a better artist. And you need to do those things. It's not for me, anybody else. You can't go on nobody else's time. You need to do it in your own time. Chabu, she was pissed. He was like, no, you know, you're not telling anybody. You've had a record deal for six months, and you've had a contract for 6 months, and you haven't even signed it. She wants there to be a clause in her contract saying that, they're going to put her out within a certain amount of time. So the guy's point is like, I'm not about to put you out there if you're not ready, because then it's going to flop, and then it's still going to be my fault. You know what I mean? And then, of course, the marriage is going to be an issue, because she's going to feel like, you know, he didn't support her 100%. So I understood him, and she really needed that dose of reality, because he gave her the truth.com. That's what he called it. So I really, really, you know, appreciated that about him. Their marriages are all over the place. Toni didn't talk about a relationship. I'm not sure. I think she's divorced. I'm not sure about the relationship. Trina's not happy in her marriage. So Tamar says everything is fine. The mother is divorced from the father, or he left, whatever. Tawana is in an open relationship with her husband. Her husband and her live in the same house, sleep in separate bedrooms, but have other mates. She says she would never bring nobody else into the house because of her children. But I was like, something. I'm waiting for that to develop more, because that was crazy. Yeah, so that pretty much was the show. Oh, one last thing. Tamar wants to adopt an Asian baby, name her Disney, and raise her as a black girl. What is wrong with that girl? She's nuts. Let me know what you guys thought about the show, please. Leave your comments below. If you have any friends who like the show, share this video with your friends. Let me know what you thought. Yeah, so I will talk to you guys about